Alright guys, you're back with Mr. C with some more real world area problems. We have hopefully one last lesson here to do, and then we'll take a test on Friday, and hopefully we'll be done with area. And if not, we'll spend some more time on that. This will be our last lesson, I think. We're hoping. So we have, I want you to imagine that we have a bedroom that's going to be having some furniture in it. And you can see the measurements of the room is 12 feet wide by 9 feet tall. And so we're going to be putting all of these pieces of furniture in there. We have 4 pieces of furniture that we put in there. And we have to figure out the area for each, because our question for today that we're going to answer is, how many square feet are left over after all of the furniture has been placed in the room? And so for our answer, is a simple answer. They're going to be a certain number of leftover square feet, where the furniture takes up some of the room. So, again, we're going to have you pause as the video goes along to do some of the math, and then I'll check with you the math. So, it's like we're going to have a bunch of things we need. We need to have the area of the room, and the bed, the dresser, the desk, the chair, and the leftover is going to be the answer. So, the room is, we'll go ahead and use this as our answer sheet here as we do some of the math. So we have to figure out first the room and the bed. Those will be pretty easy to do, because you can see that there's simple multiplication with no fractions for these two. So first one is 9 times 12. You won't have to pause the video for it because it's pretty easy. You can look at a chart, or if you know your times tables facts, you know that 9 times 12 is 108. So the room is 108 square feet wide. So I'll just do the square feet later on. So 108, and then the bed is going to be 3 by 6, and 3 times 6 is 18. So we know 2 answers so far. We know that the room, 9 by 12, is 108. We know that the bed, being 3 by 6, is 18. Okay, so those are the easy ones. We'll get a little bit harder because these now have fractions in them. So let's do the dresser next. And for the dresser, we're going to do all the work right here in this little space right here. So the blue one here. So I want you to stop the video and then do the first one here. Go all the way to the end, end up with a mixed number on your paper or on your whiteboard. We'll go back and check. So go ahead and stop the video now, and then we'll check your work. So 4 on the top, 1 on the bottom, that's the same thing as 4. And then we're going to do 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 more is 3. So it's going to be worth 3 halves. And then 4 times 3, that's going to be 12 on the top, 2 on the bottom. When I divide that, it's quite easy. 2 divided into 12 would be 6, with no remainders. So that's going to be the answer. It's going to be 6. So that was quite easy for the dresser, was simply 6 square feet. I'll go ahead and add that to our answer sheet for 6 square feet. Now we need the desk. And same thing for the desk. You will do the math on your own, and then I'll come back and check with you real quick. So go ahead and stop the video and do your math. And we're back. So 1 times 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 more is 3. So 3 halves. 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 2 is 2. And now we have 2 divides into 9. That's going to be 3 would be 4. I think 4 is going to work because 4 times 2 is 8. So 4. And I'm going to have 1 left over. It's going to be 1 half. So 9 halves is really 4½ whole numbers. So let's go ahead and make the desk as being 4½. The desk is 4.5. And now we need the chair. And for the chair, we have 1.5 by 1.5. But again, stop the video, go all the way to the end where you either have a whole number or you have a mixed number. Do that now, please. And we're back. So 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 more is 3 halves. It'll be the same thing here, 3 halves. So 3 times 3 is 9. 2 times 2 is 4. Divide that. How many times will that go into there? That 4 goes into 9 2 times. 2 groups of 4 will go into 9 with 1 left over, with 1/4 left over. So 9/4 is the same thing as 2 1/4. So we have the answer there as well. We'll add that to our answer sheet. 2 1/4. Okay, so now to find the leftover, I want you to figure out how would I find the leftover. I have all the measurements there, all the answers for all these. Stop the video, talk to someone, figure it out. How would you do the math? Don't worry about the answer, just what would you do? Okay, so what makes sense to me would be I would need to take the difference of the room, which is 108, and the difference of all of these pieces of furniture. Well, I don't know what all of these pieces of furniture combined are, but to combine numbers, I'm going to add them. So to figure out the total of all the furniture, we're going to add up the bed, dresser, desk, and chair. The total means add. Let me go ahead and add the line to divide our whole numbers from our fractions, like that. And let me zoom in a bit. Okay, so we have halves and quarters. They won't do anything until they're the same denominator. So I can change this one here. Well, I can change this one into a fourth quite easily. So I'll still have fourths here, but this one I want to see how equivalent I can have to fourths. So 1/2 is equivalent to some number of fourths, and for that we'll multiply. 2 times 2 is 4, so 1 times 2 is 2, and you can see that 1/2 is the same amount as 2 out of 4. So I can get rid of all this here. And now we're going to add 2/4 plus 1/4, and that'll be 3/4 there. And then we'll add all our whole numbers, and I see that I have an 8 and a 2. I know that 8 and 2 together makes a 10. I know that 6 and 4 also makes a 10, so this whole stack must be 20. So 2 and 0. So I have 2 plus 1 is going to be the 3. So it looks like our total then is 30 and 3/4. And that's not our final answer because we're looking for the leftover. So the leftover would be the room, which was 108 square feet. We're going to take away, we'll take away the total of the furniture, and that will give us our leftover. Our leftover will be the answer there. So our final step here is to do a takeaway problem. Let's go ahead and do it. So again, we have whole numbers. We have whole numbers separated by fractions. And we have another problem here. We're going to do a takeaway. Takeaway, we have to have something up here. Well, luckily we know how to borrow. So we're going to change this from an 8 there to a 7. And we know that we need a certain amount of fourths over here. We also know that one group will be 4/4, or one group will be 5/5, or whatever we have. So we have one group moved over here, and that will become 4/4, because that 4/4 is the same amount as 1. So we still have the same amount here, 107 and 4/4. It's the same thing as 108. We can go ahead and do the math now. 4 take away 3 would be 1/4. And we're done with the fraction side. Let's do the whole number side. 7 take away nothing is still 7. And then 10 take away 3 would be 7. So it looks like our final answer would be 77 1/4. 77, I can't find the answer sheet. Anyway, so that is today's lesson. Final answer was 77 1/4 for real world problems with Mr. C. Today's problem was the bedroom furniture problem. So hopefully we can have a test tomorrow and we will move on to something else next week if we can. And if we can't, we'll just keep on working on this next week. So thank you for learning with Mr. C.